Hey there, and welcome to the Adamant Cup bracket stage. We have a game 3 for you today. JudgeJoe versus Galeswift. JudgeJoe coming out of the Cat Claw group, and Galeswift coming out of the Karate Geek group. This is a game 3 to advance to the round of 16. My name is Sheep Launcher. I'm joined by Deathlike here in the booth, and Deathlike, the winner of this, goes to face Simbu in the round of 16. This looks like a really exciting match for us.
Yep. Anytime when you have a Porum start, I'm excited because you can't quite eat her until you have a source of exit or available. And if when she learns Berserk early enough, hey, you might keep her around. So, but that depends on if Rosa shows up or happens to be the second character you find. So yeah, I think the more interesting requirement here is the rat tail, because that means you need the hook. And hook seed hook. This is my opinion, but the hook seeds. Yeah, the fun is at the hook, but when you have an early magma key, that means the hook can be practically anywhere, and that can be one things you might end up last locating to unlock everything.
Yeah, these 7 objectives, all 7 are required, remember, but they are very key item intensive. Complete Cave Magnus, you need that Twin Harp. Destroy the Super Cannon, you need the Tower Key. Return the pan to Yong's wife, you need that pan. Complete the Seal Cave, you need that Luca Key. Rat Tail, you need both the hook and the rat tail, and you need a way underground to defeat the queen at the Town of Monsters. No moon objectives strictly. You do need that darkness crystal to complete the giant, but this is an interesting set of objectives.
Yeah, but I have faith in the randomizer that an LST dive is required. Moon. I know Moon Haunted is a thing. A lot of people prefer to chant, but the thing of it is, I like they're just having rolled enough seeds. There's probably one thing lodged into the moon, and they will have to make a dive one way or another, and whether they like it or not. So, but hey, it could be a jet seed just as well.
It could be, although based on the seeds we've seen so far, I hope you're ready to settle in. Like you said, a Porum start. Porum can be useful early on, but usually is going to need a little bit of help. I can't imagine either of these runners fighting for his life to compete in these brackets. Is especially thrilled to see a Porum start.
I think the value of the white mage, especially in this flag set, is it's really popular. You bring some relief into having to spend a lot of money on Bacchus wine, and then there's also exit. The free source of exit just arrived with fun boss, but at a not a strong spot, so that's not too bad. A CPU at Bagan, not a big problem, just a nuisance.
CPU hands us a required Luca key, and we are underway. We are glad to have you with us. That Tela is going to help out a lot. The treasure distribution is going to be relatively stingy, so you want to dive and loot as many places, as many out-of-the-way places as you can. Tela is really going to help with that Exo spell. That has to have our runners breathing a sigh of relief. JudgeJoe heading to Troya to get that free key item from Edward. Galeswift going to go into the Watery Pass, where the loot is going to be a little bit better.
Yeah, I like an early check. I would prefer to do it after getting the key item from Edward, free key item from Edward, because we don't have to do a Demon's Hunt, fortunately, for this flag set. I think, it's a Dwarf X, so yeah, there's money there. Ultimately, what the key thing about the underground waterway is the access to a potential T6 tier 6 item, which can even if it's not what you want, it's money in the bank, and they are usually high valued items. So if it's not a cheeky power shirt or a Stardust Rod, there is some value even if it's not what you want.
Yeah, the Dwarf Axe is not especially fun, but it depends who is going to be on Mount Hobbs. A Dwarf Axe could be useful for a Cane or a Cid, especially since the back row glitch is not on, so the Dwarf Axe could be more useful than just equipping it and unequipping it on these flag sets. Also found in the Watery Pass a Silk Web, which is always nice to have on hand.
Yeah, having the power of effectively casting slow twice is very useful. I personally go out of my way to buying some because there are some bosses when they go too fast. Silk Web will save you, make it a little bit easier. It's not a guarantee that every boss is affected the same way, but every little time spent not being hit at is more life to you. Looks like JudgeJoe is doing an extended search. Probably not exactly happy with what he's found so far. Probably make it all the way to the back, but then exiting. You don't want to walk out the exit though, because the game will remember where you started from, and you don't. And so doing that isn't. Hey, second Dwarf Axe.
I believe that's a third Dwarf Axe, but yeah, if you're celebrating Easter, I hope you're having a happy Easter, and it appears that a Forum Telestart is going to compel our runners to do a particularly intensive egg hunt. There's going to be a treasure hunt for some J items to help them through the early game, and for any weapons that are going to help any potential characters that are going to crop up in easy spots.
I see a crystal armor on JoJo's side. That is a lot of money. It's not. It's. I don't think it's like 50,000. And I know we have sell quarter on, but that's still plenty of money to fund even like a mute knife or something. So it's pretty valuable. I don't. A lot of these things not useful to our runners outside of being essential, just something to sell, because there really isn't something that we really desire. We'll probably have to look, hoping for access to the underground, hoping for some better items to buy. Right now, it's not looking so interesting on the shopping front.
So, Galeswift did find some interesting items in Troya, at least I think so. Vampires, ethers, tents, some interesting things. Oh, and illusions in Troya. So, at least something to keep in the back of your mind. JudgeJoe looking for that extra help in the form of another character. That's a Cid. That's a lot of HP. That this party is sorely lacking, and just has to face a turtle to get it.
Looks like Cid has a hand axe. Not the best starting weapon. If you can find wooden on sale for shop, worth the 80 GP. Totally worth the money spent on that. Probably will. Yeah, looking to swap that out. Dwarf Axe, whatever. Anything is better than what the starting weapon is, so yes, why not? Looks like...
Especially at this spot, Kainatsu will not hit that Cid in the back row for more than 1 HP, and that Dwarf Axe means that he will be doing full damage from that, so that Dwarf Axe, you only have 3 of them. You can spare 1 on that Cid. That's plenty fine for now.
Yeah, it's good to get, at least for the runners, to get one of the tougher bosses in, for higher HP spots. This is not a high HP spot, so Kinazo isn't the same threat that we see in other seeds. So one less boss to worry about on a hook route. So that's something our runners love to see.
JudgeJoe gonna head over to the Antlion cave.
Antlion, I think makes a lot of sense. It's not for the Sid. Sid levels don't really matter too much. Neither does Tella, but it's really getting Porum kind of online-ish. You want her to have QR2 available. I'm pretty sure she's got QR2, but I'm saying you want to get her at least get up to Berserk quickly, and doing this key item check not as difficult. Doesn't require too much. I mean, there are only a few bosses that would make this a bit miserable, like a Val. That would be the only one. Probably not one to wish onto anyone yet, but hey, it could be something. We'll see what the boss is. It's Baron Guards, I think. Yeah, they shouldn't be too bad.
Yeah, not at all. Not too many bosses that are threatening here in the bottom of the Antlion Cave. It's kind of unfortunate for the runners to see a quote-unquote free boss down here. Neither runner looting out the back of Mount Hobbs, which is a little bit interesting. They both have exit, but both of them have looted out at least one area that's supposed to be higher tier. Hasn't found a whole lot to write home about, so neither of them thinking the juice is worth the squeeze at this point. But that is a twin harp that is required.
I think someone's happy right now. I mean, early harp. Who's rolling the seat? Oh wait, it's the harp whisper himself. So we're gonna have some music, folks. Sooner rather than later.
And it's entirely possible that the harp is required to get underground.
Yeah, probably. I mean, right now we have to still check spots. Having a tele early means we're definitely doing Mount Ordeal. So Ordeals will probably be one of two more checks to do after look for JudgeJoe doing Fabul, like you do the Fabul fight, and then probably either route towards Mount Ordeals or do the Baron Inn check, as those are good. I think. Think probably do the character and then maybe go to Mount Ordeals to get Tella online. And I mean, Tella's still pretty useful. Not without his full spell set. I mean, Blink is still useful. Exit, obviously, we can't leave cave without it. So yeah, there's a lot to be had in this seed.
So JudgeJoe did a weapon shop check in Fabul, found mute arrows and a power staff, equipping Porum with that power staff, and trading off that dwarf axe on Sid for mute arrows archer bow. Especially if this is a mage type enemy, going to be really useful. Officer soldier, we're seeing a lot of free fights early.
This could make any sort of deep dive on the moon that could be painful. If all the easy bosses are coming out early, we might be in for a lot more fun down the road. So the one thing, I'm usually preference to having a bow and arrow white mage, mostly because there's damage. A power staff early on is always an interesting proposition. There's a point where that isn't effective, but one thing you want to kind of remember about the power staff is, it has the accuracy, but if Porum is in the back row, you've killed half of your accuracy. And so and we found a darkness crystal, so that's pretty spicy. So being in the back row makes the power staff less effective early game. Yes, it has a strength bonus, but you also have to kind of time it right to hit your teammate with it when their turn has fully executed, like they finish jumping or having cast their spell or whatever that happens to be. So there's a bit of timing that is required to maximize the potential of a bonk power staff type of deal, and Sid is a good target for it for sure.
Very much so, and you were saying that Darkness Crystal opens up this seed a lot. So this is going to be really interesting. We haven't seen a whole lot of seeds in this tournament where a D machine grind would be on the table, but we have an early darkness crystal. We have a Tella. Could this be a spot where one or both of our runners decides to go for that D machine grind, depending who the moon character is, and see if they could just take care of all of their levels early and roll over the rest of the seed?
I think it depends. I think it depends a lot on the moon character and who is at Baron Inn to make that kind of decision. I think the grind is there. You have the but I think you kind of want to keep cognizant that if you screw up, that could be a potential massive time loss. So you need to kind of be sure that you're able to do the grind. So I think finding out what the characters are that are available, at least up to this point, because you're not going to have high key item at this point. So we want to figure out what that situation is before making that decision. So we have some time to ponder. So in JudgeJoe's case, doing ordeals, Galeswift might immediately do the immediate check on the moon. So we'll see what that is. In this spot, DKC, not the pain man that he could be. So it's a pretty free fight. We'll see what's on the other side.
Yeah, we've been seeing a couple of French vanilla bosses so far. The Officer Soldier, I suppose, is 1/6 of the original Fabul Gauntlet that was required to unleash Fabul, but DKC, usually in the changing room, now in the first spot, not an issue at all. The attack power there, pretty laughable. And then Water Hag in the back attack spot. This seed has been remarkably kind so far.
But that just makes it more fun later on. It's just not for our runners, but it's for our viewers. Yeah, we're just giving all the free fights out of the way so that we could have the best seed ever. With Blarg somewhere, Ogo. The list is endless. The turtle's gone, but there's so many more bosses that can make life miserable. And although CP is also one of them that isn't going to be the biggest threat. Given where we know it's at the bygone spot. So there's still plenty of nastier bosses still on the table.
Galeswift, meanwhile, going straight to the moon, finds a Moon Rosa.
I think this right now, this signals for probably a Porum exit, but we haven't. We have Tella, so we have our source of exit. So if we get Rosa, effectively online, the levels to getting Blink and Berserk a little bit higher than Porum, but not. In some races can matter. So we'll see how that works out. But when we have the Sid as the current Berserker, not so appealing. Blink will have more value at this point than Berserk, so good. And we might actually, we might even consider yeeting the Sid, of all things, instead of a Porum.
It seems to me like we have a party of 4 white mages, and so you have Rosa as the best white mage, maybe Sid's the second best white mage, and Porum third, and Tella fourth. Rubicon, full leg in the changing room, holding a magma key. And normally that would be unabashedly good news for our runners, and it still kind of is. The entire universe is open to our runners now, but they still need a hook to trade away that rat tail.
Yeah. So it's been said, the magma key is the thing, but hook can be anywhere. The only place hook can't be in practicality is the tail trading cave. So where you trade the rat tail, you kind of need to have the hook already in place. And we don't have there's only 2 other objectives that require the hook. So there could be a chain though that could the hook would probably not be included in the chain that would require the rat tail. So we'll have to see where hook is, but it could be on the Earth, it could be on the moon, and pretty good chance it's on the moon.
Well, Galeswift did check out Cave Value, found a lunar sparkle up there. No matter what it is, Galeswift not interested in tangling with it. There's really no lunar sparkle at that spot that Galeswift could handle at these levels, so not interested in finding out precisely what kind of lunar sparkle that is right now.
I mean, given that at this point it could be free. Well, squid and spoonless word. So right, we'll have to see what the surprise is after getting rid of our holy squid, because squids, for some reason in Final Fantasy IV, they're holy because reasons. I mean, it's why we have Ultros later on in the series. That's canon, right? Yeah, that's what it is.
Sure. Well, luckily nobody is relying on holy, and Dark Elf in the second spot. Gonna be slow, but gonna hit hard.
And the only difficult part about the Dark Elf is really the kind of the weak, and then when it gets back into the rotation of the Tri-Elemental, between that time and the week, you have a turn in between, and Whispered makes you a piggy, and it kind of disrupts your flow a little bit. So it can be tricky, but once you get into the second phase with the Dark Dragon, effectively where Dark Elf becomes a dragon, then well, timing is perfect. JudgeJoe gets the free week, and Berserk Sid will clean it off. And that was quick.
You couldn't do it any better. JudgeJoe dispatching the Dark Elf, well done, and gets that hook.
Well, surprise. Well, it's still on there, so surprise averted. At least we don't have to do open up the Falcon, so that's it's fine. We'll take at least we don't have to dig deep for that. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate for us. Can't looking for the hook and finding it early, just the same point as the Magma Key. That's disappointing.
And there is literally no place in this game that is inaccessible to our runners.
Yeah, so we should, I think, and given that we have like dual underground access, we should really take stock at what we're the kind of equipment we can acquire. Like, we basically need to figure out when we get all this money, what are we going to spend it on? And so far, might just not even happen. Maybe at best we'll probably just go for buy sirens or something. And JudgeJoe has decided, I want music, and I want my music now. So it's an interesting check. Sure, it's kind of out of the way, and which is why some people prefer to fade harp. So, but shouldn't be too bad, hopefully.
JudgeJoe decides to rule in favor of the people right now. Speaking of the people, do want to thank our restreamer Harumph for rolling this wonderful seed, which hopefully will bear terrible fruit for our runners later on. At least that's what I'm hoping for. And thank you also to our tracker Dubword47, who's had a lot of buttons to push so far, and we are hoping for a lot more to push on the way. And JudgeJoe is diving into Cave Magnus, looking to complete the first objective of any of our runners at about 22 minutes.
Sid should be able to handle it. Depends on the wonder. Kind of curious what could possibly be at here. But before that, we'd harp is a wonderful check, because I know we love Edward's classic song, but this is a randomizer. We can randomize the tune that comes out of the harp, because harp tunes are cool. So instead of that, instead of the normal song, we have over 400 songs. That a lot of game music. So I'm curious to see what's going to be playing on DJ Spoony B's plate.
That was a big, a big magic attack from that dark elf, and the party acknowledges we cannot. But you know who can? Our favorite bard.
Yeah, I think there's a few runners that have special designs for our Spoonie Bee. So listen up and listen well to the song he's playing tonight. That was extended.
What a fight! D Lunar's never who you want to see in the harp position, but Judge Joe gets through it. Scored by the boss music from Super Mario RPG, of course, most famously. And did want to point out that Galeswift on the right-hand side went to Eggert, shelled out a bunch of money for an ogre axe, and then found an ogre axe in the Tomra treasury.
Yeah, that happens a bit. That happens a bit. Well, you find something you want, only to pick it up moments later. Yeah, it's rando being rando. The game knows. Um, so what the Dark Elf fight was at that spot with the D Lunars is tricky. Ideally, especially even with like a low HP like mage each team, is just to primarily rely on the reflect breath technique. Breath does not have the boss bit, so when it's and it can be reflected. So when it's reflected, the lunars can turn into toads. And a few fun things about the toad status is that in addition to that, it sets magic defense to 0. So your magic, yeah, at that spot it's almost perfect magic defense, 254 all the way to 0. And then those cures actually do stuff. Cures do not, when used on an enemy, does still work against magic defense. So, which is why the damage there is 1. And a lot of kind of in the way of looking at it, it if you do not perform the reflecting breath trick, trying to take a hack at them, they don't respond in kind with the dragon you attack. It casts wall on both on itself and its teammate, and then starts reflecting virus. And at that, even though the spell power isn't too strong, it becomes miserable. And then on top of that, if there's only one of them left, it's gonna just breathe fire on you like a D machine. So, those are not things you want to see when you face D lunars. It's one of those kind of tricky spots where there's only a few strats that work, and you're not the level you want to be to take on that. So Galeswift might have an easier time than JudgeJoe did.
Well, JudgeJoe did go into the hook route, found coffins and Bacchuses for sale, picked up a few of those, also a samurai bow for sale, and picked up one of those, and going to see the elements at the Rubicante spot, because we've already faced Rubicante, and Yang not interested in picking him up.
I mean, Punch Mage is kind of the part higher levels. I mean, you're kind of mostly a mage team. I mean, in JudgeJoe's case, there's the Edward. I assume there's going to be some hoping for the spoon to come sooner rather than later. But right now, Spoon hasn't been found yet. So Spoon, we're just collecting levels, maybe hoping for the cheeky Odin or other. Probably that's the only thing left that we can take advantage of Hived. So right now, I guess looks like Galeswift is doing the D machine manip just to get the fight.
Yep. Galeswift walking around outside of Baron. That means this is a strategy that was developed during one of the prior tournaments in order to guarantee that you would get the D machine grind in the Giant. Galeswift has that. Tella has that Darkness Crystal. Also picked up the pass from the underground. So going to try and get all of his levels now.
I mean, when you have like essentially a mage team and then a Sid, and Sid doesn't spark too much joy. I mean, yes, he's a berserker, but probably not the berserker you want. Even Yang might actually prove more useful in this situation, ironically. And not sure if Galeswift has checked the hook route character for Yang. So, I mean, the Yang would actually be better than Sid in this instance, because you're gonna absorb all those levels. Yang is perfectly absorbs levels, as his attack power is pretty much defined by his level for the most part. I mean, strength does matter, but levels are what makes him kind of scale differently than your average character, where the average character requires a decent weapon. Yang doesn't you could probably just take one claw, maybe not the charm claw, but any random claw, and be effective. Whereas every character needs a lot of weapons. Edge needs 2 pieces of Hondo steel to be pretty decent, and Kane Kane is still functional, but you need to still have something like a Gungnir. You could probably live with something like a Blizzard, but Yang requires all those levels, and a D Machine grind would probably mirror perfectly for this kind of a team.
Yeah, unfortunately, Galeswift has not checked that Baron in, does not have the hook yet, so does not have access to that Yang. And I believe JudgeJoe showed us the Job Dwarf is a construction laborer.
Construction laborer.
Really important.
Does he dance? Does he dance too? Does Job Dwarf dance? That's what I want to know. I'm sure it's in the pool. I mean, I don't even know how many job titles are randomized, but I don't think I've barely ever seen enough of those. It's like, and for some people, if you didn't check Job Dwarf title, the seed is invalidated.
And I know you want to see a dancer, but there's no reason that a construction laborer can't also dance.
That is true. Looks like Galeswift did not get the manipulation that was desired.
No.
So I think maybe a retry. I'm not sure what's like this. I mean, this is not the place to check that. But may see if there's a free boss. I mean, we still haven't. I don't think we've seen King Queen Eblin yet. That might, that's one of the last checks that would probably just we're not even, that might kind of reduce this type of grind. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe there might be a check. This is Giant is required, but the question. Oh, this is spicy.
So Galeswift wanted to take the steps to manipulate the D Machine, and that was kind of developed during one of the tournaments when you couldn't run from battles. But now that you can run from battles, you have a little bit more freedom to kind of walk around and see where a D Machine might spawn. And it appears that Galeswift believes he has gotten it. So the Baron manipulation, not an absolute requirement. It appears that Galeswift is on his way. We will have to see when the beamers go down. But on JudgeJoe's side, what an ugly Fame Arch that is. Mom Bomb in the king spot and a Wyvern in the queen spot.
I mean, the Wyvern is kind of free. I mean, only the initial part, but then it's getting the last bit of HP. That might be Mom Bomb. That would be miserable. That's a punchy spot since the Leviathan doesn't usually punch. So the value for that spot with the attack power is effectively unbalanced. But hey, great for a randomizer. As for the manipulation, it's actually it's one of those things in Final Fantasy series, at least in the early series, especially Final Fantasy 1, where the step thing is it was kind of an artifact of that. There's tables and tables just of how many steps to the next fight, and that fight is kind of the fight type, which there's a list, I think 8 different possible encounters for a particular spot, one being the very rarest, and then some are more common than others. So it looks like, yes, we've definitely found the right fight. Could probably help to use like a silk web just for making that D Machine not do its fire attack so often. Fortunately, it's an HP based attack, so it just happens that fire attack it deals damage 1/5 of their maximum HP. So depending on the rounding, you can be up to 6. So if it's perfect, divisibility, then it's 5 exact. Otherwise, it's 6.
Yeah. So you may have seen a D machine grind from a runner here and there. They make it look easy. It's not necessarily easy. So it's something that requires care. It's something that requires timing. And so Galeswift going to take precautions to make sure that his character's HP and MP are up to snuff. Meanwhile, JudgeJoe finding Evil Wall at the top of the tower, trying to do a keyless tower with the tower key. Evil Wall, not the easiest boss at the top of the tower. Usually the top of the tower, not something you need to worry about, but Evil Wall goes quick wherever it is and hits hard.
Yeah, there's a Evil Wall can be pretty nasty. Just punches for the most part, and then there's a certain number of punches it makes, and then it just goes into crush phase, which is instant death. But I think there's some in part of the script is a little bit slow. Like it just kind of passes on a few turns, like every other time. So you have opportunity to revive your party and try to deal some damage before they kind of go back down. And hey, a free fight with Mylon and friends.
Mylon and friends just hanging out in the cannon room, just having a party. So that's nice for them. So JudgeJoe deciding to eschew the top of the tower for now, and instead doing a half tower play.
Let's see from chat. Does Evil kill itself with hide strats? Yes, but everyone else has to be dead first. That is the trick. The only time it punches itself is when everyone else is dead and Edward is the one hiding. So the game doesn't know really what to target. So part of its script is move. It's a spell that moves the wall forward and then does a follow-up punch. But the thing is that since the spell is on itself and there's no other valid targets to punch, like everyone's dead, but Eddie's hiding. So who do you punch? Normally, something like that would just kind of skip, but it's kind of they're all linked together. So Evil Wall punches itself. That's how it works. It's the magic of, hey, don't know what to do because this scenario never came up because it would never happen in vanilla. But hey, in this randomizer, you can do some kind of wacky things, and that is one of them.
But the issue with the top of the tower is that the attack power for Evil Wall at that spot is low enough, and the HP for Evil Wall at that spot is high enough that even if Evil Wall hits itself all day, it's still not going to to kill itself fast enough to make hide strats worth it.
Yeah. So yeah, it only works. Some spots it works better than others. I think JudgeJoe picked up an Earth Key from the Super Cannon turn-in, so that's good. But I didn't see the. This is just a check for. This is a panelist check, so we're gonna. JudgeJoe's trying to see what is at the end of Sheila 1.
Yeah, and that Earth Crystal might be worth checking too. If JudgeJoe not satisfied with this party, there are 2 more character checks up there. If JudgeJoe wants a different party to kind of grind, Galeswift is kind of tied into his party at the moment.
So good question from chat. So rate or fade the treasury? Typically, we're in the middle stage of the game of this race, so there's a fair chance that'll happen. In JudgeJoe's case, there's a pink tail. That's great. Free adamant armor for, I guess, for someone. Not sure you want it on the bard yet. You have no spoon, so probably on Rosa. That's the best character of the moment. Sid, you might want to consider, but probably wouldn't be the best usage of that. So we'll see what JudgeJoe does. To finish the question, you might get something. You're hoping for some maybe stat sticks, a life staff or stardust. At that point, you're but they're not. But if you're talking about like equipment, the outside of like say a heroine robe for Rosa or Porum, there isn't really that much incentive to take a look at that treasury. You would think, hey, that treasury might be useful, but it's kind of more useful for berserkers than it is mages to a degree. When you're looking at the kinds of things that you'd get.
I guess the kind of big advantage for the treasury, even if you don't get anything that's immediately useful to your party, is you know if either a cane or an edge shows up at the top of tower, you know if you have stuff to equip them.
Oh, well, it's that time of the day. Joe has decided to raid the treasury. I'm very excited.
I will issue my judgment.
Inventory boss has reared its ugly head. Time to yeet all the things you actually don't need and should have dumped or sold sometime along the way. But that's okay. It's happened to everyone. So let's see what's left.
Wrong bow.
Money over 10. That's only. There isn't much to speak of. Maybe Sid over 10 because there was a rune axe.
There was a rune axe. I'll give it a 5. Not completely useless, but not a ton.
I'm leaning towards like a 3. It's very disappointing. There's nothing that stood out. A tiara, okay, great. It's nice. There's just I wish there was more something to be excited about for that treasury, especially in this particular version of the flag set, the brackets flag set. That treasury that we've all been dying for, not so hot.
Yeah, I mean there wasn't a longsword, but it wasn't enough to cause the inventory boss management that we saw. I would hate to have you as my professor, Deathlike, but, I think your grading is fair. Not generous, but fair.
I mean, I could always say it could be worse, but we'll see what that is. Speaking of worse, Galeswift has found another sparkle. What could it
Galeswift has finished his D-Machine grind. I did not see the levels that he got up to, but Plague in this spot, if he can get set up correctly, this should be very manageable at these levels.
It's free, but it's kind of long. Like, you can just berserk. Although I think they're at the levels where you can just cast white and call it day. Maybe berserk Tella doesn't really matter. He doesn't need I don't think they found a curse ring yet. So probably dispatch Tella. Let Sid do his thing, but rely on white. But they could just berserk both Rosa and Porum and just kind of skate the skate death by taking advantage of quirks in the ATB where the count doesn't actually resolve because everyone's clogging the queue, and I think you have to be at RA1. The kind of relative agility, which is occasionally called black magic in the community, because it is a mystery to everyone some of the time.
Yeah, I don't get it, but it appears that Galeswift has figured it out, because everybody on double zeros, but nobody going down, because all of the berserk actions clogging the queue, as you said. Meanwhile, JudgeJoe dealing with a French vanilla Valvalis in the Mega Sister spot.
Wow. 2 miserable fights, because Plague is kind of slow, not doing a lot of DPS which is kind of the worst case scenario. If there was a Yang would provide. Sid, he's doing his best. Val, the spell power for Val is actually pretty low. The Mag Sisters, I mean, you have magic in your name, but not the highest spell power. But weak is still strong, and Ray works when you're not resistant. So this is kind of a slow grind for both our runners. Based not having the best setups, and it looks like Porum is petrified. So yeah, that might. And it looks like Eddie's trying to save the day, I guess, or not.
Well, JudgeJoe makes it through. That Sid able to chop right through the Hurricane of Val. A safety save here would be recommended, but JudgeJoe going to swag walk right in. Right. And that's King Queen Evelyn in Dwarf Castle. Dwarf Castle is the back half of it is going to be free. Another free boss in a spot that you don't necessarily want to see a free boss in.
Jura is actually not too bad. I mean, it's only like 3,000 HP. If you have a Rune Axe, call it a day. It's a Yang and a Pelham. We probably might see a trade here for JudgeJoe because it's not doing a grind. Might consider swapping in Yang for removing Sid, getting a Yang. I'm not sure if Quake Kid fits into this, but we'll see. Yeeting the Bard. Did not get Spoon, probably getting Spoon right after this.
Of course, it would figure. And yes, Death, like you are correct, that is Ashura in the Golbez spot.
I think the question is, what is behind CPU spot? A lot of XP. The question is, it's super fast, super high powered in spell power, but what is there? And we see dolls on Joe's screen. Not too worried. Should be just probably another one left. Should be easy, hopefully.
That was a big bomb that was picked up in the treasury. So the treasury, 10 out of 10. And the and the CPU spot, the Magus Sisters. This could be a little hairy.
Remember I was saying the Magus Sister spot was pretty easy because the spell power of that spot is low. Well, how about Magus Sisters in a super high spell damage spot? Yeah, so Magus Sisters, not a joke. It's one kind of wished Gale may have visited the treasury, gotten a free Rune Axe, because then this battle would be a lot easier. Now, this is very difficult because getting at Cindy requires having back-row compatible weapons. And having mute arrows helps a lot. Rosa doing a lot of the work. Sid's helping, but eventually both of them will fall. So it's a matter of time. And oh no, Rosa's the better damage dealer of the group too. So think about the back row bit. If you have a non-back row compatible weapon, so like say you're a monster, and if you're in the back row, so basically if the attacker's in the back row and the target's in the back row, you're kind of doubling the effect of the penalty. So if you are from hitting from the back row without a back row compatible weapon is 50%, so half of your accuracy, and on top of that, hitting something that is also in the back row is also an additional 50% loss. So your effective accuracy, even if it's perfect, is a quarter now, and your attack multiplier, even to that point, isn't good enough unless you're like Rosa with aim.
I'm still getting over you calling me a monster.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. You gotta point to somebody as a monster, I suppose.
Yeah, it also applies to the monster as well. If the enemy is in the back row, so Sandy, if she punched, just for example, even though Cindy normally punches from the back row, and if she hits the back row, she's not a very effective fighter. Like, yes, this spot is unbalanced, but normally Cindy isn't going to punch very hard because if she's punching from someone in the back row, so she's also basically double dipping on the same type of penalty. So when you see Mega Sisters and punching, you're not worried about Cindy punching you. Although that'll hurt, but only because Cindy is actually now in the front row since Mindy is down. That's this one of those things where the back row glitch is certainly affecting our runners in this tourney.
And this is one of those fights that's really awkward to Berserk. Berserk, one of those spells that, increases your attack. You want to use it as much as you can, but it is kind of awkward against the Mega Sisters. But Galeswift makes it through. And meanwhile, JudgeJoe showing us his intentions, picking up 17 Sirens.
I mean, at this point, the grind, I see 10 key items, so the grind is going to be a King Ryu grind. I think the only question is, do we have hourglasses to go with them? That's the real question.
No hourglasses for sale as of yet.
Because that's usually it's kind of risky in a way. Because King Ryu's that when they go on the regular script, they can tear apart a party pretty quickly. Blitz, if you don't have lightning resistance, you are taking 50% of your max HP damage. So 2 hits or 3 if you happen to have an odd digit HP max HP. So there's a that's when you have lightning resistance equipment, it just makes that half turn into 1/10. So that's a major difference. So if you're doing a grind, you better hope to have maybe a few diamond rings if you can find any. If you want to go shopping for that though.
Galeswift did pick up a second Rosa as part of completing the Giant of Babel. His first objective completed. Not interested in a second Rosa. JudgeJoe picked up that Rosa from the moon that we knew was available there. It did replace that Porum with that Rosa, and JudgeJoe is going to go not for the King Ryu grind, going to go for the much less risky egg grind here.
Interesting to remove the Porum that you kind of gained levels for. It's something. I'm thinking. Probably going to end up. JudgeJoe has the Earth Crystals, so there's a fair chance that Rosa is going to take. We're going to see Galeswift take a trip on top of Zot. But that's not required in our seed unless it becomes that. I don't remember what the key item that was picked up from the Zot check that JudgeJoe has completed.
It was a package, I believe, and JudgeJoe at 9 key items, and going to do that grind anyway. Decides that now is the time. Not going to mess around with any of the other checks that may or may not result in key items.
Yeah, this is the dream, at least for Joe. Like, you have your 10 key items, you haven't dipped Giant or Moon yet, and you can do your grind. But right now, I think it was a quick grind just to get enough levels to take on whatever is at the sealed cave, as this is a required check. And music.
And Galeswift dispatches with that fight very quickly.
Sorry, on my miscount, I see the tower key. Oh, well, there's the actual 10th key item for Joe. That means, well, we know that this is required, so we'll see what the boss is. Really fast spot. Has high spell power, even though Evil Wall doesn't need any of that for the spot. Did not need any. Oh, well, hey, it's our favorite creature that did not make its trip to the moon.
Yeah, Judge Joe got the Quake on that Palom in order to deal with the Seal Cave, as Night2 pointed out in chat. Did not do a full grind, but did just enough Sirens to feel confident in managing the Seal Cave, and we'll see how this fight goes. Antlion not pleasant to deal with pretty much anywhere, but especially here. We'll see how JudgeJoe deals with it.
One thing about Dean Lunars, even though that high spell power spot, White does do some decent damage, but those Dean Lunars not weak to Holy. They are undead. They are weak to fire, but not weak to Holy. That's the kind of caveat of damage weaknesses of undead. Sometimes there's a few instances where most instances, they're weak to both fire and holy, but D-Lunars not weak to holy. There are a few other bosses, a few other monsters, like I think the Vamp Lady and Vamp Girl. Those are also weak to fire, so not weak to holy.
Nice Sorcerer pickup from Galeswift in the Seal Cave. But, when you're dealing with a spell as powerful as White, you don't necessarily need to deal with elemental weaknesses in order to do a whole lot of damage. And Galeswift's levels meant that the D-Lunars were disposed of in short order.
Yeah, that's the difference between when you have mages kind of online, fully online, and when they're not online. The difference is mostly just in spell selection. And White is very late in the selection and still pretty powerful. Not at the same level nuke, but still as powerful. So, guess we'll get the same news. Hey, here's your Baron key. We'll see you in Baron very soon.
Potentially, there are 2 key item checks, and there are still a lot of key items required.
Yeah,
either of our runners could choose to try and tangle with the Wyvern. I think Galeswift definitely at the levels now to deal with the Wyvern in the Queen of Monsters spot.
Galeswift doesn't even know what's there. That would be the fun surprise.
JudgeJoe, I believe, with that stack of Sirens after this 10th key item is acquired, just going to go ahead and take care of his grind right now and try and roll through the rest of the seed.
Yeah, so the early Siren for JudgeJoe is really just to get Quake Hit online. It's effectively 2 Sirens is like 1 point some number. I don't know the exact number, but you effectively need more than 1 on a base Palom. If you have the double EXP, then it's just 1. So, and hey, our favorite Joker is in Dwarf 1. JudgeJoe saying, maybe later.
Yeah, JudgeJoe, I think, wanted to see if there was a manageable way to get another character check. Not interested in hearing a comedy set to do it.
Assuming Gale's probably gonna. Well, I don't think Gale might go directly to Baron. We'll probably check Fey March first. To kind of clean up the underworld. Still don't. still not having the pan. I don't think Gil has also done the tower key. So there's lots more underground work to be done.
Yeah. Galeswift most likely will want to try and clear out as much of the underworld as he can. Still has a ton of checks down here. Top of tower, tower key, and both the Feymarch bosses, which, as you said, Deathlike, he doesn't know what he's getting into.
Probably, but you have the levels. You're gonna figure things out. When you have the levels, you're not worried about. I mean, Galeswift went all the way. I mean, when you have white on your white mages, the seed mostly over. There's still the few instances where like bosses like Dark Elf Part 1 and like Octomem, they're both off the table, but they both would absorb wholly. So there are bosses that will slow you down, but there aren't too many left to slow down. And JudgeJoe has found our CPU overlord.
Yeah, the entire purpose of doing a grind like Galeswift did is to take care of any boss at any spot, no matter where they are. So definitely going to go into this with confidence. Going to be met with a rude, boss, but Galeswift has the levels, has the noose and know-how to deal with it. Gonna put on some Star Veils, do some run buffering, and take care of it.
Yeah, looks like Rose is gonna live. Probably try to get Porm back online and this reflect white, and then call it a day. It's like, hey, see what we could do too. We can reflect spells too. But it looks like we'll get more Sid for some levels. I guess it's not like I mean, I see Sid is gonna be the as the potion, the chemist for our seed. Tella will be our anchor. Sid is gonna just be the tank. Just use potions because, hey, it's still a good job.
And the ruler of Baron is Anarchy. Just whoever wants to step in, it's an all gauntlet on the throne.
Yeah, this. I think we're gonna see Senator Crocodile. Have we not? I think that's part of the Yield Colin here. At least I don't. There's just a lot. There's a bunch of monster
if
sets.
He hasn't been impeached, we'll see him here.
There's more. Unfortunately, it's kind of like the old saying, 3 dark imps and a cloak. This is quite similar, but it's kind of more like one of those clown cars where clowns keep coming out of the small vehicle. Yeah, that's what it's like to be alt gauntlet.
Right. Yeah, we could call this the cabinet. I think it's just a bunch of people of varying backgrounds and degrees. And Galeswift does get through that queen spot, only gets an elixir, but does get an objective.
Probably wants to do the objective design. I mean, you have white, you'll take care of however much HP Bomb has. Should not be a problem. Just as long as they don't get punched before getting off their casts. Which, when you have white mages, Blink solves a lot of problems.
It sure does. And Senator Crocodile makes an appearance. I appreciated the necktie, but he is swiftly down. And I believe this is the last fight of this particular gauntlet.
Yeah, having Palm, is especially for many of the alt gauntlets, not all of them. There's a lot of the early alt gauntlets having AoE spells always handy. Although the only kind of spell that Quake doesn't fare well against are the electric fish. They really should call it flying fish with an electric tinge.
So JudgeJoe finds a second Rosa and takes her on. Kicks the engineer to the curb, saying, "Don't need you." I want a triple white mage, please.
I think I've seen a seed like this played, like some hours ago. But love the statues, especially the one with Val. That's a cute one.
Yeah. Question in chat: is Mom Bomb resistant to holy? Mom Bomb is not. Mom Bomb is standard to holy, and these white spells doing considerable damage against it. Although this spot has a lot of HP, so you got to do a bunch of spells against it.
Mombom is weak to Darkness Elemental, which we're talking about DKC weapons. As some of as just to remind everyone, DKC or Cecil in general, he's taking a complete vacation after kind of carrying in the group stages. Brackets not existent. Hey, required pan on King Spot. So that's a required Fey March.
Yeah, if you fade the Fey March, you are not going to be happy that that pan fully required. And Galeswift going to continue to shop, wants samurai arrows, and picks them up.
I mean, arrows are arrows. I think probably want if you need like kind of like emergency DPS. Like, I mean we've I mean the only fortunately it was just the bosses that really needed the DPS were the Magus sisters earlier, and kind of in the plague. I mean having gone through plague. I mean you want to have the best arrows you possibly can. Not that Rosa might have to take on bow duties, but you never know when you need to just to kind of fist punch a boss, and in this case, give the best archer the best arrows possible.
Galeswift going to bonk that Yang on the head with the pan. And Yang just gives us something from the fridge. I've had those kinds of visits to people. Hey, what are you doing?
Hey, it's not a. Hey, it's kind of it's early for Halloween. It means we're Easter. I mean, it's. I mean, you could give apples, I guess. I mean, it's good for Porum. Porum needs all the apples she can consume, because you don't ever know when that the white mage that could she needs to be online all the time. That's the thing. Porum all day, every day. That's my mantra.
So kind of the big difference between the runners now is JudgeJoe has both a hook and a pinktail. That hook from Baron Inn, which Galeswift has not checked yet. Galeswift will be able to exercise efficiency by checking the Baron Inn and the Baron Castle and the Baron Throne all at once after he finishes up with the Underground. We'll see if that works out for him. There's some runners that don't like Dwarf Castle, and probably to some extent don't like Baron Inn, because you're doing effectively the same thing. You're doing 2 boss fights to get the key item, occasionally for the character you may or may not want. So they're both similar, although I think the obviously the degree of difficulty for Baron Inn is much less significant than Dwarf 1 and 2. So this sometimes I can understand why runners don't want it. Like, if you don't need the characters at this point for Galeswift, like why do we really need another character? We're we have the kind of characters are set. They have the grind is done, so it's less appealing to someone who has decided after doing the large grind. I don't need that. The only problem is the key item, and the length of some of the events that are part of those checks. Those are not as appealing. So that's why people skip Dwarf. And as is being pointed out by Fiery Blizzard in chat, there's a chance that this moon is entirely haunted. we have had a remarkable amount of key items here on the Blue Planet. If Sheila ends up being the rat tail, then you don't need to go to the moon at all. There's also the chance that the rat tail is at the Barren Throne, which would have a similar conclusion.
Yeah, especially in the completion seed. Given how things are weighed, there are more items to be found on the Earth, whether it's on the overworld or underground, and you're essentially incentivized to do every possible check that generates a key item on the Earth. So unless you are really desiring to do Moon, and there's a few situations where that's the case, where the magma, you get the magma key, but the hook is a mystery. But then again, just like 5 minutes into the seed, it's right in the Barren Inn. So, the kind of the search for the hook usually makes you more likely to make you do a moon dive if you have early darkness crystals. Sometimes it's not a guarantee. Nothing like in a randomizer, nothing is guaranteed. But there are certain things that can happen, like in ways that you would not prefer to happen.
Galeswift did find a life staff at the top of the tower, so JudgeJoe not punished for fading that. Neither runner completed Dwarf Castle yet. You have to imagine Galeswift is going to swing by that and then leave the underground forever, if he can.
Yeah, when you can basically clear a whole section, it's like kind of like reducing the checklists. And sometimes if you do a lot of them and they pay out, then it's closer to go mode than you'd think. So it's one of those like moments you like, hey, I don't have to come back here, and I don't have to come back here, less things to worry about. It's a race, but when sometimes having kind of the calm of mind, the peace of mind rather, that it's sometimes worth doing, just to especially in this flag set, you really want to clear out just a whole area so you don't have to worry about it when it comes to last locationing things.
JudgeJoe looks like he's finished with his grind. He has two Rosas who are at 49 and 51 level respectively. That's very formidable, and he is immediately going to dive that Fey March.
I think Gale is hoping for the tail, because this is the pin turn in, but then you still have to find the hook. And right now I think the current last location check is literally Barren Inn at this point. Well, then there's the Earth Crystal, so I think just if it's something, you probably do a faster check in doing there's the pink tail. Hey, Sheila has both of the tails, so if Galeswift decides, hey, let's do Barren Inn because that's quicker than going on the Tower Zot, Galeswift is going to be clearly in the lead.
Yeah, Galeswift has 3 key item checks at Barren, with the inn, with the castle, and with the Barren Throne. It would be the efficient play to go there, and that's where he's going.
I mean, this is one key item left. It's just a hook. So in terms of routing, it could have been like doing Earth and then doing this. This is a quicker check, maybe, and in worst case, you're gonna do the rest of Barren anyways. So this is kind of the logic. This is, I guess, trying to save some time, hoping it's not on Zot, and Gale will definitely be rewarded, as these fights pretty easy when you're over leveled.
And yeah, going to get the hook, going to be in go mode. So Galeswift going to have go mode at 116, while while he's doing that, do want to thank our restreamer Harump for rolling this very jetty seed without a moon requirement to speak of. And do want to thank our tracker Dubword for keeping track of the hot and heavy action. And thank the Professor Deathlike for providing all of the explanations for everything you've heard here. Go ahead and give them, and go ahead and give our runners a follow. This has been an absolutely frenetic race to get into the round of 16. This is game 3. The winner moves on to the round of 16, and they're certainly putting on a show.
Yeah, thanks. It was a lot of fun, and Gale is gonna have to take the required nap because that's vanilla. So yep, gonna turn in tails, get a free adamant. Fig probably the adamant putting on. Figure out who to put on the adamant on. I would actually say to put it on Porum because she's the one that's most likely gonna fall from a big full big bang. That's the alternative is Rosa. Sid is not the best use. You really do not want Sid to do any punching. You just let him sit back, heal both Rosa and Porum up. That would be the preferred way to go. So, well, I'm sure maybe check what's a rat tail for fun, but oh, that's a requirement. Sorry. So we'll definitely get the adamant soon after getting the crystal.
Yeah, you got the crystal for turning it in. It'd be a lot of fun if it were a spoon. It's another weapon for the ninja that has not showed up.
That's okay.
And not gonna turn in that pink tail. Oh, he forgot. Here he goes. He wants that adamant armor.
It's probably because the crystal pickup precedes the longsword, the item as resulting of the rat tail turn in. I was like, oh right, that's because one of those things that if you sometimes in a seed where the rat tail turns into the pink tail, then the pink tail's automatically turned into. Sometimes that occasionally confuses a runner. It happens. It's a unique quirk that is in a free enterprise. So don't worry about it. No, there's no mistakes. There's no error. Don't adjust your screen. And I see flags.
Yes, and as you said, as you predicted, Deathlike, that adamant armor going on that Porum, who, we kind of derided at the beginning of the seed, but has turned out to be a really essential part of Galeswift's party, and is going to be wearing that armor all the way to Zeromus, and it appears that we are getting flags to warn us of Zeromus' arrival.
Warn us of Zeromus' arrival. That's a interesting warning system. Does that come with a siren? Or no.
I mean, we used at least JudgeJoe used all the sirens. I don't think there are any left.
So I guess you want to ask the question.
I mean, I'm always happy to ask the question because Zeromus can't be moved. Zeromus has to be here, right here at this altar. Zeromus is just too big, too much, too smelly to go anywhere else. But we got to change up Zeromus because this is a randomizer. So the question we ask at the end of every seed is, whose butt are we gonna kick tonight?
And follow-up questions like, is there a butt? Is butt cute? Does it have a hat?
Yeah, Zeromus' script does not change. Zeromus' outfit certainly does.
The reveal's coming. Let's see who this is. There's like over 500 sprites. Oh, and
all of us.
I'm scared of the newspaper. Please don't hit me.
I mean, did we volunteer for more than one race today, Deathlike? Is that why the newspaper's coming out?
I'm told that if you're totally allowed to run and play and commentate and everything with your own race, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Well, then, and that's how you summon Scalamus.
Yeah. I mean, I certainly can track and commentate at the same time.
Yeah, I know we like to multitask. Oh, Judge Joe is going to the moon, looking for. Let's see. Oh, we're doing the giant. I guess maybe finding an anchor. I don't know. Misclicked.
It looks like a misclick. Judge Joe knows that he wants to go to that giant. Galeswift, meanwhile, setting up that Z fight, did nerf that first Big Bang. Tella goes down, not a big deal.
Yeah, we're going full reflect strats. White is a pretty slow spell. It's about the same. I think it's about the same timing as the level 3 elementals, but it's just a stronger spell than the level 3 elementals. So, but either way, unlike having Nuke Kid or Rydia with Nuke, I mean this, like, White is still decent, not terrible. Fun fact: if there's a target that survives a White and is weak to White, it's like having virus. HP leak happens. It's one of those things that you never see because it rarely ever happens.
Yeah, it's funny that we have Rosa, we have Porum, but the person who's doing the most white magey stuff is that Sid.
You know, Cure 3 potions are the best solution to reflect. That's what it boils down to.
Although there are no Cure 3s, at least there were no Cure 3s for sale that I saw. So Sid is tossing Cure 2s. So it could get a little dicey for this Porum, but Galeswift gonna try and get through it.
Probably not concerned. The black holes happen, so we can cure everyone with Cure 4, and then we're just gonna go back to either using a Veil or just casting regular Wall. Probably on Sid or Porum. Doesn't really matter. We're just gonna still do more reflect strats to the very end.
And actually going to resurrect that Tella in order to get an extra turn in.
I wonder if it's just a kind of a swag revive. That's what I'm wondering here. Not really gonna clog the queue, but I'm sure it's maybe no. Tella's going back to take a nap again.
Yep, that Big Bang will come out too quickly for Tella to contribute anything useful, but the other three stay up, including that Porum. It was a bit of a high roll on the Big Bang, but the Porum has 22 HP left.
The solution to everything is slap an adamant armor on them, and that looks like that is it.
Galeswift has done it! Galeswift advances to the round of 16 with an official time of 1:24:42. What a race from Galeswift. What a jet seed. And Galeswift handles it with a aplomb and moves on to face Simbu in the round of 16. GG's.
GG's. And I believe Galeswift has joined us.
So that was a haunted moon, that seed. What did you think with all of everything that was required being on the blue planet?
I think I'm trying to remember if I've ever had. I think I might have had one seed in this flag set that let me skip the moon entirely, and it's pretty nice when you don't have to go to the moon.
Yeah, the seed provided. I mean, everything was here, but you still ended up doing a D money grind. What gave you what was the decision behind that?
Yeah, with D money grinds, I feel like the timer starts ticking if you have a Tella and a Darkness Crystal and you aren't doing a D machine grind early. It just gets less and less beneficial. And I wasn't super happy with the party, but at the same time I felt like, yeah, double whites can kind of clear most things, and I have a giant objective. I have no moon objective, so it kind of just lined up where I actually rarely do machine grinds on this flag set because generally you can get sirens and you generally also get a lot of experience from doing moon objectives. But there were no moon objectives, so I was banking on like maybe doing a few moon objectives, but I really didn't want to like rely on that.
Yeah, the D machine grind allowed you to clear out the underworld with alacrity, and there was a lot required in the underground. What was your thought first encountering those Feymarch bosses?
Yeah, I briefly considered fading the king at Feymarch, but then I figured like, well, it's going to be fast. Again, it's not going to be any slower, or it's going to be as fast as I can get it, and I'm here. And I just seem to be getting more and more key items down there, so I figured if I can clear full underground, I can go to the moon, and then hopefully only have to do a few altars on the moon to get go mode.
What was the decision? Like you effectively last locationed your go mode item. What was the thing behind not doing the Baron in check?
Yeah, well, when I had the full party of 4, I was looking for a possible better replacement for either Sid or Porum, like a Pala maybe, or an Edge even. And so when I saw Edward there, I figured, I am going to do the D machine grind with this party. And again, I felt like a clock was ticking, and I wanted to get that D machine grind done ASAP. So I figured I can come back to Baron Inn, do it really fast later. And I actually even considered doing Zot first before doing Baron Inn, just because I was close to it. But then I figured like, okay, I have enough key item checks I need to do in Baron, so let me go do that. And yeah, it ended up paying off. It's not always the case that way, but yeah, I basically I just didn't want Eddie as a character, and I didn't want to spend time on it. My team wasn't super powerful, and I felt like if I came back after doing a D machine grind, it would be pretty much instantaneous, except if you cast white on the Dark Dragon form of the Dark Elf fight, which I always forget that he heals from that.
Yeah, that's one of those. That's one of those edge cases that you never realize until it's too late. But having Tella and Rosa and Porum as your final party with Sid as your white mage, was that? When did you make your peace with that being the party that you could take the rest of the way?
Pretty much when I saw Edward in the inn. I know I can do the Z fight with even just a Rosa and a Sid if I need to, but I felt like with the D machine grind, you can get Porum to decent HP levels where she can actually survive some big bangs. She barely survived that last one with 30 HP, although I did give her a gold apple. But yeah, actually, I don't mind. I like Porum for some reason as like a second. If you can get her levels, she's okay. Like she's obviously not as good as Rosa, but in this flag set, she's very reliable, like reliable source of Blink and Berserk. She also gives you exit really early if you don't find a Tella, because Rosa doesn't get exit until you get Zot. So overall, I've been really appreciating Porum more in this flag set, so I was actually happy to find her.
Yes, especially with the Porum start, I love it. I guess my last question. There was a Yang on the Lunar Dais. Would you have considered swapping that over Sid, or are you happy with what you had?
I briefly considered it. I didn't really have a bunch of elemental claws, and Sid already had the Ogre Axe, and he had the HP growth. So I felt like it was just, I don't know, it wasn't enough of a reason for me to swap and then like go into inventory and manage all their equipment again. So I just decided that Sid is fine because I was going to rely on Rosa and Porum, and I was going to do reflect strats. That was my strategy. So I figured, melee DPS wasn't going to be as huge of a deal for the Z fight.
Well, you ran a heck of a race, and you are into the round of 16. I believe this is the furthest you've been in any free enterprise tournament. How are you feeling about your play, and how you're going to continue next week?
I'm excited. I'm playing against Simbu, I think, who's an incredible racer as well. I'm just hoping that I can be more consistent. I think I've been a little bit inconsistent when it comes to some seeds. So here's hoping that kind of the checks go my way and I end up with some of the characters I'm comfortable with.
Well, Simbu is a really talented racer, but if today's performance is any indication, he has a lot to fear from you. So, once again, GG's and best of luck going forward. Congratulations on reaching the round of 16.
Thank you. GG's.
GG's again, Galeswift. And it looks like Joe has reached the Z fight. There are more roses in the seed that I've seen. That's I mean, it is possible to have a party of all of one character if the seed rolls a certain way. So, hey, why not fourth Rosa?
Well, there's only been 3 roses so far, and JudgeJoe has decided to pick up all of them. So, Joe's party is certainly going sub Rosa here.
Yeah.
And but do want to say what a race that Galeswift ran, moving on to the round of 16, quick like the wind. JudgeJoe, a tremendous tournament for him, did win the Cat Claw group, made it to the round of 32. JudgeJoe, a fantastic runner, just didn't quite work out for him on this day.
Yeah, I mean, the difference, obviously, in the seed is Gale deciding, gotta do the grind right there. You have Darkness Crystal, you have the Tele, gotta go grind, or I'm gonna be behind. That's the thing. That's the thinking, and it looks like it paid off. Like every boss became kind of more or less trivial when you have power overwhelming with levels. Mages do not need much in the way of equipment. I mean, outside of giving them stat sticks, and for white mages, maybe a white robe, and after that, that's it. You're done. There's no you don't need that much to get a white mage to be happy and productive. So, if you're not getting the equipment, white does a lot of work, and you don't. And I mean. And having a Sid, still providing, worst case, you still have a Berserker. Val, I think Val was early, so, Val was not a major factor in any of this. So it kind of works out.
Yeah, JudgeJoe going with pure reflect strats here, but with the levels that his roses have, should not be too much of a concern. Reflect strats can lead to a very quick Z fight because you skip the HP refill, and there it is. JudgeJoe finishes in second place with a time of 1:34.22. GG's to JudgeJoe. We'll see if we can get him in for an interview. Again, a really solid race for JudgeJoe. A really solid tournament for him.
Yeah, it's tough. It's kind of difficult to see. You see the dot done, and then you still have a race, and that's good. And it's appreciative that Joe's finishing the race as started. Sometimes, although some racers don't look at the race room until they have finished their own seat. So you never know. When people realize it's over. So,
well, we can ask him now. We are joined by JudgeJoe. Joe, what a race from you. Just didn't work out quite in your favor. GG's.
Thanks for that. Yeah, doing a couple unnecessary long earth checks really slows you down. But if the seed kept going on, I felt like it was gonna breeze pretty easily at the end.
Yeah, probably the lack of any required moon checks kind of worked to your disadvantage there. What did you think of the seed overall?
Very interesting. I suspect that pretty much the quickest way you could do it, 'cause if I remember right, the only non-objective required check like outside of just the beginning Overworld 4, was the King of Summon Monsters. So if you just do an early grind, hit Ashura, chase all your objectives, you'll pretty much not have anything extra to do.
There was some early divergence in Seed. So Galeswift had when found the Darkness Crystal, found the Tella. You did so the same. Actually, did you find the Tella?
Yep.
Yeah. So what was this? I think that was the biggest form of diversion. Did you consider a D machine grind or?
I did, but if I'm going to be doing that type of early grind all the way to like white and nuke, I kind of want to have a black mage before I do that. Going through a seed with simply white is a lot slower than nuke and white. So I did try and do a lot more character checks. And by the time I did find the Palm, I was getting closer to 10 key items. So it's quicker and easier to just do 13 eggs at that point, was my thought.
Yep.
Yeah, and the egg grind did work out quite well for you, as once you did that, you kind of rolled through the rest of the seed. And what did you the top of the tower, hopefully you'll be glad to know, it did not turn out to be bad for you that you faded it.
Well, I mean, if I've managed to finish, I would hope it wasn't required, but yeah. If I did the Sheila 1 check first, then I would have been set up just fine for the top of tower. But with Evil Wall getting to go extra, punching pretty hard, I just did not have the agility to manage an Evil Wall there, so I left.
So, unfortunately, your run ends in the round of 32, but you put on a heck of a performance throughout this entire tournament, winning the Cat Claw group, and taking Galeswift to 3 games in the round of 32. What are you going to take away from this tournament?
Tournament's pretty fun. Need to work on cleaning up a couple different things to just sort of be a little more efficient, be able to go and potentially do future necessary checks if needed, but I'll be looking forward to future tournaments, and good job to Galeswift. He managed to get 2 races in a row that worked out in his favor, so glad for him.
Yep. Rando v Rando. Seeds roll a certain way, sometimes favor a certain runner. I can totally understand that. Any other thoughts to the seed? Yes. I mean, JudgeJoe.
Not particularly. I hope everyone in the round of 16 keeps enjoying the tournament, and wish them luck with the rest of the tournament.
Well, you certainly were a vital part and a really entertaining part of the tournament, and have really shown yourself as a runner to be looked out for. So once again, GG's and congratulations on a heck of a tournament, JudgeJoe, and thanks very much.
Thank you guys for commentating. Lots of fun. Always enjoy watching these. So I'll be watching the rest of the tournament now.
Yep, GG's again, Joe.
Well, we have more Adamant Cup bracket Game 3 action going on tonight. So on Free Enterprise 2, that's the Deuce, there will be Woobear versus Xenocat. That will be at 8 p.m. Eastern. That's in just about an hour. So you can go do something for an hour, but don't go too far. Because at 8 p.m. Eastern, Woobear, Xenocat, one of those hype animal matchups. And then back on this channel, the Free Enterprise channel, at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, we have Loof, we have Plumerionite, we have Game 3. It's going to be incredible. And a spot in the round of 16 up for grabs in both those matches. So we cannot wait to see you. But I do want to thank our restreamer, Harumph, our tracker, Dubword47, for doing such an incredible job. And thank you to Deathlike for co-commentating. We are going to send you over to another bracket seed. This is Commander Leonhardt, who you might have seen earlier. He's running a bracket seed for fun. But, there is no such thing as just for fun when you're running Free Enterprise. He's going to try and take care of Z at the end. So, want to send you over there. And thank you so much for being with us today. And until next time, so long.
Yep, see you all next seed. And as a reminder, please do not spoil this seed or even the seed earlier today. In the upcoming races, let other racers watch the VODs when they get a chance, otherwise the sprite that was a Z sprite today, that might actually show up. So don't spoil.